We'll start rocking the weight forward and back. We're calling the basic Tai Chi posture, the chin back a little bit, and the crown rise up. Feel the back, round and spread. Shoulders sink, spreading the hands slightly. Keeping the knees soft and sitting back a little in the hips. Dropping the tailbone. And the lower back, stretch out. The weight sink down through the feet spread. Very lightly grab the floor as we sit back. Forward, we feel them spreading out. Back, we feel them grab the floor. About 70% of the weight shifting. Feel how that action reaches up through the ankle and calf. Starts to connect to the hips. Back opens up. Feel as if the back encloses the deep chest. Gently wraps around the body. And feel how that helps drop the breath into the abdomen. Feels a little concentrated. Breath slow, even, relaxed. Side to side. About 70% of the weight. Really relaxing and sinking the hips. Trying to relax down, particularly through the lighter leg. Keep that lighter foot anchored. 30% of the weight. Circle. Pause and reverse. So circle the weight around, again, feeling that circular movement up in the hip joints. You get some deep movement in the abdomen. Pause in the middle and looking up while keeping the chin a little back. Feel some lift at the top of the chest, down with the same feeling, sinking the shoulders and the hips. Give a gentle stretch that reaches down through the front of the body, down through the back, all the way through the hips into the legs. I start to feel a similar action in the feet. Looking up, I feel the feet spreading out and spread the palms a little bit too, so that I feel some agreement there. Hands and feet. As I look down, I feel the feet grabbing the floor, just lightly. Very automatic feeling, like suction cup. So a few movements side to side, relaxing in particular the opposite shoulder and hip. Easing down through that side. Circling. Pause and reverse. Turn the head. Just the head at first, very top of the neck. With each turn, working a little bit further down through the spine, down through the base of the neck into the chest. Just the upper chest at first. A bit working further down. Mid chest. Down through the lower ribs, and the waist, top of the hips, down through the hip joints, below the hip bones, the legs down into the ankle and the foot. And again, keeping keeping the weight pretty even, but the leg that wants to be lighter, the back leg, keeping that anchored. That would be the foot would have a tendency to roll in, heel up a little bit. Keep the little toe sinking down. Drop the tailbone under. Keep that same posture. Same quality of breath. Typically, try to let the breath be a little slower than the movement. Shrug the shoulders forward and back. So bring the shoulders back, gathering them a little down toward the mid-back. Very gently. Looking for a nice, clear feeling. And then pulling one shoulder down, letting the other one rise. Shrug the shoulders. Big shoulder roll. Reverse. While I roll the shoulders, trying to keep the area around the neck as relaxed as possible. Let's reach the arms up and extend them back. Arms come up, the shoulders sink, the hips sink. Cross, cross, open the arms to the side. Get sinking the shoulders, particularly that area close to the neck, as much as possible. Think of the shoulder blades sinking down into the mid-back. Gently but clearly. Nice big generous circle with one arm. The other hand on the ribs under the arm, pulling very gently to the front as the arm reaches back. Both to gently stabilize the position of the body, the torso, and also draw our attention to that gentle stretch under the arm. First circle. Change sides. So one of the key elements to sinking the weight, important quality of the Tai Chi Walking, is to figure out how to release the neck and shoulders. Reverse. Walking is a head-toe kind of activity. It's not just about the legs. Let's bend the knees a little bit more. Hands at the low back, so when I tuck the tailbone under, I can feel how that presses my low back into my palms. You kind of sink the shoulders a little bit. Then untuck, stick the back side out, feel how that curve gets stronger in the low back. So as I tuck and untuck the hips and the tailbone, really feel a lot of movement in the lower back. Still keeping the weight relatively even on the feet, but again, I'll feel some change. So as I tuck, I might feel like the feet are grabbing the floor. And as I untuck, I feel the feet spreading out. And that just happens automatically, ideally. As I tuck and untuck the feet, I have that change. I'm not trying to coordinate two separate things. Drop one hip down towards the floor, bending that knee and stretching open the side of the waist a little bit. And then reverse. Other hip down. So one hip down, one up. Feel one knee bend a little bit and then the other. Feel that movement sort of pushing down through the feet. And then circle. Stirring movement. Pause and reverse. Try to make a nice smooth circle. Turn out. Again, when I turn out, opening up that back hip. If my feet are staying planted when I turn from side to side, I feel like I'm folding into the hip crease on one side and stretching it out very lightly on the other, and it reverses. So what I feel in the two hips is complementary. One side folding in, closing, the other stretching open. Still trying to drop the tailbone under, extend the lower back a little bit. Partly because that makes this range of motion much easier to isolate. Makes it easier to keep my legs stable so I don't feel any twisting of my knees as I turn from the hips. Just from the hips. Everything in the upper body is just riding along. Now if I toe in and toe out, now both hips are doing the same thing. And we talked about that a bit already. So as I toe out, both hips are opening up. Fold in both sides, open up. So you can think of a piece of paper with a trifold, right? With two creases in it to create those three panels of the trifold. And so I can fold both, right, in, right? Or I can open the page, open both of those folds. So here as I toe in and toe out, a little more weight on that back leg, the leg that's staying really stable. And really feel that I'm opening up from that hip, particularly the back leg. Front leg will tend to take care of itself. So I weight shifts a little bit, helps stabilize that leg, tailbone's dropping under, and the hip opens up. All those things work together to make that back leg really stable without being stiff, without trying to tighten up and keep the leg frozen in place. It's just releasing the weight down, relaxing, softening the hip, just lets everything open up. You can do this at any speed. Slower is usually better. I'm turning relatively quickly here, but I can go much slower. Stretch out. I'm going to pause, turn out to one side, lift the toes. I'm going to turn my hands forward, lift my fingers as well, flexing the ankle and the wrist together. Then I put the toes down, lift the heel as far as I can, bring the fingers back. On the back foot, most of my weight's there. The knees pointing the same direction as the toes. The hips over the heel. So I have a nice stable base. I don't feel any twist in that back leg. Heel up, toe in and toe out. So this kind of movement, I've discussed it before too, just coming from the ankle. So my knee is not really moving as I turn my toes in and out. A little tricky at first. I don't want right now to do it from the hip. So we already did a bunch of hip turning. This is just from the ankle, just freeing up that range of motion gently. Then I put the toe down and I turn the sole of my foot in and then try to turn it out. So just rocking the foot in and out like this. If I did the same thing with my hands, right, it'd be palm up, palm down. The other side, lift the toes as far as we can without forcing it, and then lift the heel as much as we can. So the focus here is really, I'm warming up my wrists a little bit at the same time, but the focus is really on the ankle. A nice full range of motion. And again, toe in and toe out just from the ankle. Breathe that up. If I do the same movement with my wrists, it looks like this, right? With the palms facing forward the whole time. It's tipping toward the thumb and then toward the little finger. And then turning the sole in and out. Again, hands palm up, palm down. Just a little bit of that's really useful, right? You're very quickly your ankles start to feel a little warmer, a little more relaxed. Right? You might feel that invigoration all the way down to your toes, as well as up into the calf and the shin. Now I'm taking a little wider step and I'm going to rock the weight side to side again, about 70%. So relax the hips, particularly down through the lighter leg to keep that foot firm, that 30% of the weight that's left behind. The more I can relax the tailbone down under the body, stretch out the lower back gently, the easier it is to keep that foot planted and to feel like the two legs form a nice round arch. I don't let one side of the arch fall in. This kind of 70% weight shifting is very typical. Particularly in the style of Tai Chi that's really most popular worldwide, the Yang style or Yang family Tai Chi. Really emphasize this kind of 70% weight shift. So when I'm in the middle, this is called the horse riding stance. It's like I'm sitting in the saddle. I keep that feeling if I rock the weight, right? Or if I turn again. Here's the kind of turning where one side folds in, the other side stretches open. But both feet stay planted. All right, combine them, shifting and turning. Now it's more challenging to keep that lighter foot flat on the floor, to release down through the hip, keep the tailbone tucked. And in a minute, we're going to integrate the arms a little bit more with this weight shifting. One of the key elements of the Tai Chi walking is, in fact, the way the upper body is integrated. We've been talking about it in terms of the basic posture, head carriage, and how we sink the shoulders down, help sink the weight, lower our center of gravity, make a better connection to the ground. So here I'm shifting to one side, but I'm turning to the other. So I feel a little stretch in that back hip when I'm turning away from. And my knees are bent, keeping about the same height. Now I'm going to put the hands in front of the body as if they're resting on a tabletop and shift the weight and then turn. Shift the weight back and turn. And as I sit back, I may notice that the hands tend to drop down just slightly. When I turn, it almost throws my hands back out just a little bit. And then as I sit back, again, I feel the hands sort of settling down, maybe a little heavier. So the amount of movement toward and away from the body is very slight, right? Just an inch or so. But it gives it a much more sort of organic feeling. I want to avoid the feeling of holding my arms stiffly. Sink and soften the shoulder. The hands are keeping about the same position relative to the torso, right? They stay right in front of my shoulders and hips. There's a little play to them that's just natural. I'm not trying to choreograph or coordinate that movement. I'm just trying to let it develop naturally. There's the first shift, then turn, shift, then turn, shift. I think we did this last week. But here, I'm emphasizing that there's just a little bit of play in the hands. Or I can reverse it and I can push forward. Feel how that sort of pushes the hands out. Turn back. They start to settle and sink in. And even as I start my weight shift forward, they still feel like they're sort of sinking, settling a little bit. And then as I finish that weight shift, as that back leg opens up a little bit, I feel the arms open up a little bit as well. I think there's a connection between that back knee and the elbows. And again, I really try to avoid artificially coordinating this movement. I want to just sort of let it develop, try to discover it rather than invent it. Now I'm going to toe out with one foot a little bit. Let's go back to rocking the weight for a moment, leaving the hips at a neutral angle. Set 70% weight shift. Releasing through the front leg, keeping that knee a little bit bent. Shifting forward, relaxing, extending through the back leg. And then add a little turn. Shift to the front and turn to the front. Again, challenging that back hip a little bit more. How do we keep dropping the tailbone under? Let that hip open, keep that back foot planted, with a little toe down on the floor. Come back, it's just like the elastic recoil, very easy. Stretch it out just a little, right? Gentle push to the front to get that 70-30 weighting. And then almost just bounce back into position. So I don't need to make any effort to come back to 70% of the weight on the back leg. Moving forward feels a little more dynamic. Go in, go out the other side. Again, first, just nice neutral hip position. Again, one even height, kind of sitting down feeling the whole time. And then turning the hips to the front, head and shoulders just ride along. I don't lead with my head or with my shoulders, no real twist to the waist. Action feels like it's coming just from down here in the hips. I'm going to start about a body width position. And when we do the actual walking, I'm always returning to about a body width stance. So if I'm walking straight towards the camera here, I'm going to turn out, I'm going to step up, step forward, right? There are all these little pieces. But at the end of the day, right, if that foot pivots on the heel and the other foot steps forward, I'm keeping about the same width between my feet, rather than ending up in a narrow foot is directly in front of the other, right? So if I was fencing, this would be perfectly appropriate. But for Tai Chi walking, the stance is opened up a little bit more. It's a little wider this way. So this is the dimension I'm talking about right now, about the width of my hips. Toe out, shift the weight, relax that back hip, keep that back foot on the floor until I'm a good 70% of the weight on that front leg. Then I let that back foot peel up and I have that intermediate step. Now step forward, those toes are straight toward the camera. Shift the weight. And again, getting towards the 70% mark. And if that back foot needs to pivot a little bit to get my hips straight, it can, but it's going to be on the heel. And it's going to stay on the heel if I'm able to drop my tailbone under sufficiently. Then the toes are just going to sort of glide along the floor. Now, that's not extra choreography. That's just allowing that foot to adjust so the back foot's in a comfortable position. And so I'm bringing my hips around to square up as much as I can without forcing it, right, in the direction I'm walking. There's a couple of ways to make the transition. Here, I'm just going to toe out a little bit. And then step up, peel that back foot up. And the next step, I'm going to be back out to my hips width. Toes are pointing straight, right now towards the camera. Shift forward, turning the hips to the front. Really relax that back hip down through the leg, keep that back foot planted. So in this case, my back foot may not need to pivot at all. It sort of depends on how much you toed out. So if you don't toe out very much when you're starting the next step, you probably won't have to toe in. I'm going to step up. My feet are parallel, right? But turn to this side. Step back to the front, shift. So I know you can't see my feet right now, so I'm just describing the geometry. This is a little different from the way we've been walking, the zigzag pattern. So before, each stance was sort of to one corner or the other. It alternated side to side. Now what I'm doing, I turn out to the side to prepare to step forward. Back foot comes up. Look a little bit in the direction that I'm calling straight. Step out. Now make a little extra turn. Open up both hips. So again, the sort of secret, the thing that's easy to overlook, is that the back hip is really where the key sort of opening up, stretching out happens. Then I can just step up with that back foot, step out. Again, I'm just walking in a straight line now. So toes aren't pointed to the corner, toes are pointed straight. Shift forward, square the hips. If the back foot needs to adjust its angle a little bit, ideally that happens on the heel. Keep the weight forward, toe out, stretch open the hips. Step up. And you'll notice I'm not standing up. I'm keeping my knees bent. I'm keeping that sitting down feeling the whole time. Look a little to the front. And as I step forward this direction, that front foot is going to step out a little bit. All right, so think of it swinging a little bit to the side first and then forward. And that's how I'm going to get that hips width spacing. Stretch out, the back foot step up, look a little to the front, and think step out and then forward. Doesn't need to be a big stretch to get out there. So again, if this is my hips width stance, at the end of the day, this foot's just, if I just stepped it forward, right, I'm keeping about that same width side to side, rather than ending up with one foot directly in front of the other. So that's the part that's hard to see when I'm facing the side. Open up the hips, toe out a little bit. Step up, feet parallel, right, a little staggered. The foot that just stepped up stays light. It's just resting on the ball. The heel is up. Turn to the front. 70% of the weight on the front leg, and the hips are relatively straightforward. The feet have that hips width spacing side to side. Go out. Step up. So when I toe out for starting the next step, it's a big hip stretch. Requires a lot of relaxation through that area. Eventually develop a feeling like we're just floating along and in a pretty straight line. So I do turn a little bit side to side in the transitions, right? But when I start, I know which direction straight is. That's going to stay straight. And I can toe out, step up. I'm turned a little to the side now, but Before I even start to step, I'm going to look straight again. Foot swings out and forward. And I'm moving just straight forward. Toe out. So I look to the side a little bit, step up. And now look forward, step forward on a nice straight line. So as much as possible, my weight shifts here, right, in this stance, the bow stance, feel like they're on a track. Right? So if I'm facing the camera here, if I shift forward and back, you can see that I'm not sort of swaying side to side. The main place to look for that is the hips. I don't want my hip to jut out to one side or another. So as I go forward, my hip doesn't stick out here. And dropping the tailbone under is, right, the main strategy for just stabilizing the hip position without any stiffness. Right. Keeping the head in position, sinking the shoulders is also helpful. I wouldn't want to lean with the upper body out either. So I come forward, step out, and again, you're going to see the movement is just nice and straightforward. If I shift my weight forward and backward in this position again, it feels like I'm just on a track, nice and straight. Not a diagonal track this way, but straight forward and straight backward as much as I can. And that can be relatively challenging. So let's do just one more thing in the last minute. Let the hands float up, or think of sinking the shoulders, and then soften my elbow, bend the knees a little bit at the same time. Try to release the weight down through the arms and hands. So the hands feel a little heavy. It's almost as if they're resting on the floor, heavy like the feet. And now I'm going to toe out, step up, shift forward. I'm going to see little or no movement in the hands here. They're just being carried along by the body. Turn out, step up. Step out and forward. Push forward. I do it from the side, like this, same thing, just different orientation. Start with this commencement movement. That sort of sets my hand position. Go out. Body's just carrying the hands along. Go out, open the hip, step up. Out. Back. Same idea. Go out. Go out. Step up. Step forward. Pushing the body nice and straight. Go out to the side. Up. Looking to the front. Step out. Push nice and straight. Same walking we were doing before, just not having the hands on the hips or dangling down. It's helping to think about what's happening up in my neck, my shoulders, my upper back, maintaining that feeling of the posture. Shake out the legs a little bit. Walking in place. Again, with the emphasis not only on the same posture, head carriage, but really sinking this area through the waist, particularly the back of the waist and the hips. And thinking of that release down is what lifts the opposite leg. Let the arms swing I can. Thank you.